Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Fake News at 10. My name is Mainstream Media Jerk. The time is coronavirus. Our top story tonight. A black woman who founded Black Lives Matter has been murdered in a racist attack by two black men because of whites. The black men killed the black woman because white people are white supremacists who love whites and hate blacks. Black people that live in the United Kingdom are reminded that white people that live in the United Kingdom hate them because they're black. It's much safer to black people to realise that all white people in the United Kingdom are racist and hate them. We like to remind you on the mainstream media that if you are black and you live in the United Kingdom, you should assume that white people don't like you. If you're black and you're at the shops and you see a white person at the shops, you should assume that that white person doesn't like you. Let us not forget that colonialism and slavery are two words that we can say about things that happened a while ago that prove that whites here hate blacks. Black viewers are advised to run away from whites. White viewers are advised to chase after blacks and say, "We hate you," because that's the way you're supposed to behave. The time is 25 past racism. Another top story tonight. White people hate blacks in Lewisham. Lewisham is an area of London where whites hate blacks and have for many years. And to reinforce that, we now have a black lady who's going to talk to whites about how they hate blacks. Any whites that say they don't hate blacks and that Britain isn't racist are racist. Jeffrey. Thanks very much, David. Lewisham is a borough of London where black people live. Black people have lived there for several years, and it's only recently become apparent that black people have been invited to live there and live there happily because of racism. White racism in Lewisham is on the rise by over 204%, according to a latest survey done by people who want whites to hate blacks. It's been proven by asking people questions that prove if they're racist, that they're racist. The questions that determine how racist some people are and always say that you're racist, whatever answers you give, appear to have indicated that everyone in Lewisham might be a racist, especially the white ones that hate the blacks and the Asians. We talked to some Asian people in Lewisham who confirmed that white people hate Asians. They know because they saw on our program 6 months ago and every day since for the last 6 months. A special report is being put together tomorrow on how whites hate Asians and blacks and how Asians hate whites and blacks and Asians. Some Asians hate Asians even though they are Asian, which is a result of white supremacy, which has been cooked up for several years. Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt our special report earlier with a special report about the coronavirus. Breaking today, the Prime Minister has confirmed and the media have reaffirmed that the coronavirus is terrifying. Users are reminded to be terrified of the coronavirus at all times, despite the fact that they're still not dead. The tragedy that took place 18 months ago that launched the coronavirus into the world that meant that everyone would die has now been taking place for over a year and a half. Everyone has been right about to die for over 18 months now, and this shows no sign of letting up whatsoever. Users can expect that they're right about to die from the coronavirus for the rest of their lives. Could go on as long as 50, 60, 100 years, or some scientists have begun to suggest that this even could be permanent. Users of the United Kingdom and the rest of the world are advised to prepare that the new normal is that you're right about to die from the coronavirus no matter how long you live for the rest of your life. Users are currently right about to die from the coronavirus, and it's important to wash your hands for over 40 seconds at the toilet or the grocery store or where you go in to get a coffee or if you leave to put out the bins. Users that have been putting out the bins or handling anything with their hands or their feet are advised to cut off their hands or their feet at the elbows in new government advice. Users that are attempting to cut off their hands at their elbows will be pleased to know that if they wash their hands for over 50 seconds afterwards and before, they won't catch the coronavirus as they bleed out on the kitchen floor. The new government's safety advice comes from Professor Chris Whitty. Professor Chris Whitty is a man called Chris, who we say Professor before we say his name. The fact that we say Professor Chris Whitty means that this guy is a professor and incredibly intelligent, and you should listen to what he says. Professor Chris Whitty is told what to say by Bill Gates. Bill Gates is not a professor, but he gives Chris Whitty a lot of money to be a professor. Chris Whitty then says, "Hey Bill, what do you want me to tell people to say?" After Chris Whitty has said what Bill Gates told him to say, we on the Mainstream Media News remind you that Professor Chris Whitty has said this. In other news, the Pfizer vaccine has been confirmed as safe and effective by a man who died after taking it. The man who died after taking it died from the coronavirus because he didn't get the Pfizer vaccine fast enough. In other news, professional footballer Christian Eriksen has not had the coronavirus vaccine. It was confirmed by several establishment organizations that Christian Eriksen has not had the coronavirus vaccine. In other news, British Airways pilots that collapsed randomly and are dead, there's 4 of them, have also not had the coronavirus vaccine. The mainstream media news are quick to point out that anyone who's moderately famous or that you can see in the public eye collapse has collapsed from another reason that isn't the coronavirus vaccine. We still wait for news on what made them collapse, but all we know at this moment is that they did not have the coronavirus vaccine. Users that have died or think someone may have died from the coronavirus vaccine are reminded that the vaccine is safe and effective. My name is Mainstream Media Chuck. The time is coronavirus. That's the end of the video again. The video's ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ending now.